Welcome back to the R&D podcast. My name's Dalton. I'm joined here today with Pork and Chin, back for another episode here. We're going to talk about first on the list. You know, we got a nice little slate today. We got 3 games and the playoff selection show to talk about. Start off with the playoff selection show. We'll go ahead and pop that up on the screen now. It was already popped up. Just want to refresh it. I don't know why. You know, this one was kind of interesting. You had the committee talk about the Indiana defense and how they ended up playing pretty well against Penn State towards the end of the game there. Miami's offensive consistency, keeping them out. Texas Tech, and they're not in the top 4 due to the red zone offense, which I thought was interesting after a really good win over a BYU team here. BYU, you see, gets bounced back to 12. Ole Miss gets jumped by Texas Tech. Still, like I said, keeping them out of the top 5, even though. Let's see what else we got. We got Iowa there. JMU is not in this top 25, even though they are now ranked in the AP top 25 poll. You have a couple different teams on here that have chances to make it that are a little bit higher than what you would originally think. Towards the end of the show, they pointed out USC. They have Iowa and Oregon left on their schedule. If they are able to win out, they have an 81% chance of making the playoffs. And how does that shake up the whole field? We'll go ahead and let Pork and Chin. What y'all have any comments on this one? My opinion, I think it looks pretty straight. I didn't expect Indiana to jump Ohio State for any reason. I didn't expect A&M to jump. Now Texas Tech jumping Ole Miss. I'm interested to get y'all's thoughts on that, if that was warranted after that win over BYU. Whichever one y'all want, whatever
Yeah,
one.
I think they deserved it. Honestly, they kind of dominated the BYU game.
Mhm.
I heard a lot of people talking about it, like on Twitter and everything, like how Texas Tech deserved to be above Ole Miss in that spot. I don't see any other complaints outside of that, honestly.
Yeah, and Ole Miss, I don't know if they are able, without a loss in front of them, I don't know if they're able to regain that spot either, due to the fact that they only have Florida and Mississippi State left to go this year. Pork, do you have any comments on that Texas Tech jump, or are you pretty straight with it?
It's deserving. I mean, Texas Tech played great against BYU. I was thoroughly impressed. I'm actually surprised they didn't jump ahead of Georgia and be sitting just out of the top 4, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think if they would have, kind of like the committee said, with the fact that their offensive efficiency in the red zone, there's a couple field goals that they left on the board that kept them from really being able to make that jump over to Georgia. I don't know if you necessarily punish Georgia. You already bumped Ole Miss. I don't know if you punish Georgia and push them back, especially before the Texas game this week. So I think the committee is really kind of waiting to see how this Texas game falls. Because say Texas goes on the road this weekend and loses to Georgia at Georgia, how far back do they fall? What does a 9-3 Texas team look like trying to get into the playoffs, you know, as we go down further down the stretch? So just kind of a couple of interesting takes there. Miami, they are the highest ranked ACC team, and they won't even make it to the ACC championship. Louisville, the head-to-head over them, sitting at 20. The ACC is in shambles. I don't know how you really go about this ACC the conference. I don't know what you do there. Oklahoma is another team that you can talk about, sitting at 11. They're out the cut lines at 10, so they're just one spot outside, but they still have Bama, Mizzou, and LSU. So if Oklahoma takes a loss or wins at Bama this week, right, but loses to LSU or Mizzou later down the road, are they still going to be in?
I mean, I think so. Because, I mean, where you're about to have to go play to beat Bama, I mean, I think they'll jump way in. They'll be safe. They'll be around 6 if they beat Bama in Tuscaloosa.
Even if they have a nasty loss to maybe Mizzou?
Well, that's different. So you talking about like getting blown out by Mizzou, or it's just really ugly,
like a 2-score, like just an ugly loss, just like 2-3 turnovers, like gave them the game?
Maybe. I mean, that might be the only thing I think could knock them out. I think the loss to LSU would hurt them more than a loss to Missouri, in my opinion.
Mhm. Then yeah, definitely, I agree with that 100%. Mizzou really isn't a bad team. You have Zollers back there at quarterback, freshman, young kid getting some playing time. Other than that, like if Prbula is still there, where is Mizzou at now? I don't think Prbula was amazing by any means, but I do think he had the experience and he had the legs to be able to get a lot of stuff done. Zollers is just young and hasn't been able to really prove himself yet in that backfield. USF at sitting at 24. You got Pitt at 22. Tennessee at 23. Still, Tennessee's still the most interesting team in the top 25 for me. Iowa at 21, which Iowa still has Oregon on their schedule, or not
No, they
Oregon,
just played Oregon.
USC on their schedule to play.
I think so.
So Iowa plays USC. They get a win there. How far up did they go? What's the road look like for BYU to get back in? Well, short answer to that is conference championship over Texas Tech, more than likely. How far does Tech drop whenever they're a 2-loss team? No way they drop out of the top 10, I wouldn't say. So, is there any teams that stand out to you guys? See anything that y'all want to?
There's an obvious you're not getting in line here, though, where you're sitting at. I mean, if you're anywhere behind 13 and you're not fighting for a conference championship, you might as well hang it up.
What about Michigan? Let me pose the question about Michigan then. What if Michigan beats Ohio State?
That'd be something. I think Michigan beating Ohio State that'd be about the equivalent of Auburn beating Bama. That would hurt a ton. No matter, it's a big rivalry game, whatever, but you're facing. I say Michigan actually has been doing decent this year, a lot better than Auburn at least.
Yeah,
but it would definitely be pretty detrimental to their playoff chances, in my opinion.
Say Michigan. So I think Ohio State stays in if they take a loss, no matter what, right? But I'm talking about Michigan making it into the playoffs. They beat Ohio State. They went out against Northwestern and Maryland, which is their next 2 games, and then they beat Ohio State at the end of the year. Do they make it into the playoffs after that? I would say they do.
Would that be their? Do they only have 1 loss in the Big Ten?
That's a good question. I don't know. They're 5th in the Big Ten, so I'd imagine they have 2. No, they only
got a loss to Oklahoma.
No, they only have 1 loss. They're behind Oregon, USC, Ohio State, and Indiana. But Michigan, if they are to beat Ohio State, they have a 64% chance to be able to make it in the playoffs, even after losing to USC earlier in the season. Texas, with a loss to Georgia, drops their playoff chances to 31%. What's the road back to the playoffs for Texas like? Pulling up Texas.
Beat A&M.
That's it. You just have to beat A&M.
If you beat A&M, say you lose to Georgia this week, so you take your 3rd loss, and then you beat A&M, are you back in?
Yeah, I think so. If you because that's an 11-0 A&M going into that. Let's just say, just being generous, 11-0 going into Week 12 against Texas, and Texas knocks them off, gives them the first loss of their season. I mean, I think it could honestly show a lot of grit for the Texas team. You might be able to slip them in, but it'd just be what's going on in front of that as well.
Then you'd have to go circle back to it. Michigan, do they deserve to be in at the same time? Granted, the same scenario that they're both in.
Yeah, all makes sense. Good, good analogies, takes, whatever you want to say. There's a lot of football left to play. We still got 3 or 4 of these prediction shows left to go before we really get a final answer. So there's really not that. I think this week the most impressive win for me was Texas Tech, and I'm glad to see them get bumped up, even if it was at Ole Miss's fall. And even though Ole Miss was at the end of the sword, it's still, if you're Ole Miss, if you're Lane Kiffin, you're not mad. You are just a little disturbed, kind of like they were saying in the playoff show, because there's no reason to be mad. The Tech team looked really, really convincing that they needed to be up there. Do you think A&M or Indiana should have jumped Ohio State this week?
No.
I don't think anybody should have jumped Ohio State. I would have felt okay if A&M jumped Indiana, just because the game looked a lot better, and it was at the time it was a pretty big matchup. It was them and Mizzou this past weekend, right? Where they won by 30 or something like that.
Yeah, very convincingly.
I mean, I think that would have been the only really thing I could have seen them going, well, put A&M at 2. They kind of proved it this way. That'd be the only reason, the only like shift in the top 4 I'd say.
And A&M with South Carolina this weekend. It's South Carolina, and we'll talk about this later in the preview too. It's kind of one of those teams, kind of like Penn State. They're a program that's going through some stuff right now. Fire your offensive coordinator, fire your offensive line coach, but you still have a lot of great talent on your roster. Lenore Sellers, Dylan Stewart, Nick Harbor, to name probably the top 3 that can make plays and keep you in games. You saw that with Alabama going to South Carolina. Obviously, you're going to A&M to play this game, so it's going to be a little bit harder. But don't be surprised. The line set at 17, which 17 and a half, I want to say, which is a solid gap there.
It's
But
actually it's up to 18.5 now.
Is it up to 18 and a half now?
As of about an hour ago, is it about 18.5?
Oh wow, yeah, 17 and a half. So they're betting it up.
Yeah, they're really liking
at South Carolina.
No, this is in Texas.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
But
now if it was at South Carolina, we might have a different story. But I don't see no.
At A&M. Yeah, I agree. I was just thinking about against the spread. 17 seemed like a lot to me, but it's really probably about right. Honestly, we'll talk more about that though whenever we go through the previews of the game later. Virginia and Louisville making that little fall because of the 2 losses. Man, ACC blow up 2 weeks in a row. The week before you had Miami and who else? Oh my goodness,
Georgia Tech.
Yeah, Miami, Georgia Tech lost the week before, and then Louisiana or Louisville. What the heck? Louisville and Virginia this week. Yeah. So
I told y'all look out for Robbie. Them Auburn boys do it different
Robbie
in ACC.
Robbie Ashford, baby. Heisman candidate, Robbie Ashford.
My goat.
But we can move on past this. I think we kind of got everything we wanted to say out of the way on this one. We'll move into our first little talking point, our first little preview here. You got South Carolina on the road to take on Texas A&M. I will say this about this game. It's going to be at A&M, 18.5 point favorite, as Pork informed us earlier. Total set at 47.5. This was earlier this afternoon. I don't know if it's changed since then.
It's still the same. I was looking at odds earlier. I was contemplating a few things.
This is A&M's first 11 a.m. game this year, besides that 11:45 game against Utah State. So that's kind of an interesting take. We'll see how they play in the mornings. Is their coffee not as good in the mornings, keep them from playing well, and ends up getting them in an upset? Who knows? Marcel Reed against a good South Carolina pass rush. What's going to be the story on that? How is he going to play through that? How is Dylan Stewart going to affect this game? South Carolina firing Shula after a terrible offensive performance this season, and the offensive line coach. A&M defense, they are impressive. They execute on a high level. I think that against Lenore Sellers, they're going to be able to create a lot of havoc. I think Nick Harbor is a great skilled receiver, but I don't know how much Lenore's, Nick Harbor, Fajon can do to really keep them in this game at A&M against this A&M defense that has almost looked, spotless this year. They do everything. They do it fast. They're very sound. You saw against Mizzou, what first play of the game, you had one get bounced outside on you by Hardy just because of an overcommitment to a gap and you're just overstepping. But other than that, as far as fundamental mistakes, this A&M team does not make many of those. And it's hard to be a team that plays as cleanly as they do. I would say, in this game, you're going to have to get a lot of explosive plays if you're South Carolina. And I just don't know where they're going to come from. I really don't. I'll let y'all go ahead and give y'all's takes on this game, and then we'll give our score predictions at the end. But overall, Texas A&M looks pretty convincing.
You're good, Jim. I'll let you take it.
All right. I think the only problem that A&M might run into, granted I haven't really watched A&M much this year, is the ability of Lenore Sellers to, say, get out of the pocket, try and make plays with his legs, and then you open up the RPO type of game there if they have any implemented in. And then you flip to the other side. I think South Carolina's D-line could cause some problems with Marcel Reed trying to create with his legs. You got Dylan Stewart, arguably one of the best defensive linemen in the country. He's quick. I think he could, set an edge to make sure Marcel doesn't run. But honestly, I think A&M's just got too much talent, too much firepower for South Carolina to deal with.
I have to agree. Pork, what's your take on it, my brother?
I think if you're South Carolina, the only thing you can really do is to try to make Marcel Reed uncomfortable and force him into throwing bad passes. Because with his legs, he's thoroughly impressed me all season. The way he's able to move in and out of a pocket. And he does, I mean, at times he does show that he can give the ball up. And if you're South Carolina, you have to force the ball up and capitalize off of it.
Mm.
But on the flip side, I mean, A&M, you just should have let Marcel Reed get to work and kind of just let your run game support it so they don't have to just drop 8 in coverage and just pray at that point.
Yeah.
And defensively, just make sure Nick Harbor doesn't get out and do the things he does, and just make Lenore Sellers beat you with his arm, not his legs. I mean, he's got 7 touchdowns on the season with 5 interceptions. I mean, he's not really been great with his arm.
I look for A&M to spy Lenore Sellers with Terry York. That kid plays out of this world. I mean, he is ridiculous. He flies around. He's really smart. If you watch him that Mizzou game, especially the calls that he was making, I mean, you can tell that kid watched film because he was calling the plays for Mizzou. It looked like, I mean, every time you had somebody come in motion, he was pointing, he was directing. Really good leader, really sound linebacker. And I think he's going to probably be holding Marcel Reed's pocket a lot in this game. Marcel Reed. I think he's going to be holding Zoller's pocket a lot in this game. I think he's going to be a big factor for Texas A&M against this offense for South Carolina. I don't know if Lenore Sellers is going to be able to get out and use his legs because of this linebacker unit and because of how sound they are. But also, you sit here and you think about, when is A&M going to have a slack? When are they going to slack off a little bit, and who are they going to do it against? And right now, you would probably say it's going to be the SEC championship game, if they were to, because you don't see them losing to South Carolina. Then you also have Texas again, the Texas game here in a couple of weeks, but Texas still plays Georgia. So what's Texas going to look like at that point? Who knows? A&M to this point, are they going to be overlooking the South Carolina team looking forward to what they have for the rest of the season? Do you think that's a possibility? I mean, I think Mike Elko's a good coach. I think he's going to have his guys locked in. But if they overlook the South Carolina team, can South Carolina make them pay?
I don't know. There's just not a lot they can do to really hurt A&M, in my opinion. A&M is so defensively sound and even better on the offensive point of it. I mean, you got one of your Heisman contenders back there running the helm for them. It's just kind of hard to try to say, I mean, that South Carolina could come into Texas A&M and stop them enough to score and outscore them. I just don't see it.
Well, we go back to the South Carolina-Bama game, and Bama had the lack of the run game that kind of hurt them offensively because Dylan Stewart was able to just commit to the pass rush and not have to worry about playing run schemes, playing gap sound football, because you're probably not going to move the ball anywhere. I mean, you go back and you watch this Bama game from the past week, and we'll talk about this later on. It just looks like Bama's run game offensively is just not attacking. It's very slow paced. We're going to get there when we get there. And it just hasn't been working so far. So we'll see. I got Texas A&M winning this game 38-14. Pretty convincing win. South Carolina is going to probably keep it close in the first quarter, but I say second quarter, that middle 8 portion, the most important, really and truly the most important 8 minutes of football is that 4 before half and 4 after half. It's what everybody says, and I think that's going to prove to be true in this game. Chen, what you got for me? What's your score prediction?
I got 38-21. Carolina covers.
Pork, what you got?
Well, I'm just looking at it here, and South Carolina is on, I think it's a 4 or 5 game losing streak right now. I just don't see them breaking it. I'm taking the Aggies. I'm taking them 42-10.
Ooh, 42-10. You got to remember, this is a kind of a little bit of a redemption game for A&M too after last year's loss. Last year they lost 44-20 or something. A&M did at South Carolina towards the end of the season,
At
which
South Carolina.
was in the middle of South Carolina's rise at the end of the season last year.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go ahead and flip the page. You know what I'm saying? Class, go ahead and bring your notes out because we're going to be talking about this. Don't slam. You said don't slam it.
Don't slam that. Don't.
You sound like
hedonism out here, boy.
Yeah, you sound like Emma now. Walk out the door.
Are we seriously hitting the Heisman pose? Is that what we're doing, Stetson?
Yeah, that's Gunnar Stockton, baby. That's Gunnar Stockton, baby. 15-year senior is crazy.
Tennis, little brother.
We'll move on now to Texas. Texas at Georgia, 6.5-point favorite for the Dogs. Kirby Smart going to be clapping a lot in this game. I have a feeling. Georgia, I'd say, getting pressure on Arch Manning and carrying the momentum that you have received from the Mississippi State game. Really impressive win at State when a lot of teams have gone in there and struggled throughout this year. Getting Arch off his launch, okay, let's talk about Arch Manning. He's looked a lot better the past couple games than what he did. He's kind of looked like the Arch that we thought we would see at the beginning of the season, or at least that most analysts, whatever media personalities thought we would see. He's starting to kind of come out of his shell. So getting Arch Manning off his launching spot and making the one-on-one tackles on these little wide receiver bubble screens and things of that nature, because you saw where Vandy got burnt by that to start the game the other day, a couple weeks ago. Attacking Texas' secondary, using play action due to your run game being super successful. Let's talk about Georgia's run game, right? This last game, 300 rushing yards at Mississippi State against Bama, over 242 on the ground against Ole Miss, was it over 200 on the ground? So they've been really good, really efficient running the football this year. I think that's not going to change. Well, let's see what the power rating for Ole Miss. Oh my goodness, Georgia's run game is 35 in the country against Texas' number 6 rushing defense. But I don't think Texas has faced a team like this that can run the ball as well as Georgia can. I think Frazier is a dog. I think you got Chauncey Bowens behind him. That's a dog. I think they're going to be a really big factor in this game for Georgia down the stretch. And tying into that is time of possession. It's going to be huge for the Dogs in this game. Keeping running that Texas defense out and getting them into that fourth quarter whenever they're a little bit tired and being able to move the ball on them. It's going to be a huge deal. Texas, the lack of the run game is a problem. You better hope you get it fixed after the bye. If you go and you pull up Texas' run game stat sheet, it's straight reds down the board. Arch is improving, but how can he handle Georgia is one of the little notes I have in here. Hard to go on the road and play the most physical team that you've probably played all year and expect to come out with a clean-cut win. I think Georgia's going to bring a lot of stuff at Arch. I think they're going to try to – Arch seems like he's seeing things a lot more clearly now, and I think Kirby Smart's going to try to wreck that. Georgia's defense hasn't looked as sharp as it usually does this year, and this may be a turnaround game for the Dogs. Pork, I'm done yapping. It's your turn. What you got for us?
I'm looking for a Sark revenge game right now. He lost 2 of them. He dropped 2 of them to the Dogs last year. Okay. So he is going to be out for blood. But the issue is, like you said, if you cannot get Wisner going at the start of this game, it is going to be a long hour of football. Yeah. And the way to stop Georgia's offense is you have got to get Stockton, not let him roll out and try to find a second read. Make him step up and face a linebacker. That's the only thing you can try to do. Or just get to him clean as an edge rusher or a defensive lineman. But Arch has to come in, get in a great rhythm like you saw against Vandy. And just if he's not on his A game, it's going to be a bad day.
Yeah. No doubt. Chin, what you got for me?
I agree with Pork what he said about Sark wanting to get that revenge from last year. But I haven't really been fully impressed with Texas all year. They had a good win against Vandy, but you also about blew a 17-3 margin. I mean, I think Georgia's the more physical team. I feel like Kirby's going to throw a lot at Arch that he hasn't seen all year. But Georgia's run game will be the difference in this game.
Texas offensive line has not been very impressive this year, and that's really caused a lot of the Arch hate too. I feel like Arch Manning's been kind of running for his life back there in a lot of games. I think that's why you saw him be so successful against Vandy. To say like correlate that to this past Auburn game, Vandy's defensive line isn't bad, but they're not a top tier defensive line by any means. So you saw Auburn's offense be able to kind of fluctuate and move the ball down the field. Ashton Dennis played a great game. And is it because maybe he didn't have as much pressure as what he usually does? Same case scenario with Arch. Probably a little bit of it, but also a heck of a game. I'm not discrediting Auburn. Let me go ahead and put that out there. It's just the closest example I had. But overall, I got Georgia winning this game 28-21. I think it's gonna be a pretty solid game. I think Georgia's home field advantage is going to be able to put them over the edge, and also their defense's physicality. Without, I think this game's going to be one in the trenches. And if you want me to give you a certain side of the ball, Georgia's defensive line against Texas' offensive line, and that run game just being non-existent, I think you're going to have a big advantage there. And I'll look for that to be the deciding factor in the game. 28-21 to Bulldogs. Port, what you got for me?
I'm going to be honest with you. I really think that Sark is trying to ruin seasons right now. He's in ruin season mode for Georgia, and I think I'm going to take Texas. I think I'm going to take them 22-20.
22-20 Texas.
Ooh.
Yeah, they do not. Nothing gets covered on this one. Nothing gets covered.
Chin had a little bit of a Texas, Georgia. Who what tiebreaker are we going to have here?
The Dogs. 27-10.
He bet against them last week, and he's not.
You said, wait,
I did
27-10
last week. Yeah. Made a
Dogs
mistake.
By good.
Bet against them last week.
So you think the Dogs covered?
Yeah, by a mile, it seems. 17.
Double.
Covered by 11 points. I respect it. I think last week was like a really good statement win for Georgia. I think they've been kind of pedaling throughout the whole season, kind of wondering whenever they're going to take that next step. And I feel like last week was that quote unquote next step. Very impressive win at State. And obviously State's not like a top tier SEC team or anything, but they have played a lot of close games at home with some pretty solid SEC teams. So I think it's reasonable to say that Georgia handled business very well, won by 20 the other night in Stark Vegas, baby.
But what you can't do as a Georgia Bulldog, like as this team, you cannot go in there being like, oh well, Texas had this. Was it the miraculous? Like had a crazy comeback against Mississippi State at Mississippi State. Mm-hmm. You can't look at it and be like, oh well, we handled business from the jump.
Yeah,
and they struggled their way through it. You can't look at it that way because if not, you're going to get the roof's going to get flipped on you if you do that. Honestly.
Yeah, the first quarter they really struggled, and then 21 unanswered in the second quarter. That's kind of where they turned it on. But slow starts for Georgia have been the story all season. And you're like a Blake Shapen fumble away from and pick away from probably being a little bit closer in this game.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll move on now to the game of the week. This is kind of the biggest, one of the bigger games of the week. I feel like besides Georgia Texas, right? Oklahoma coming into Bryant-Denny Stadium. We don't have a cool player picture for this one. It's just kind of bland, but it'll have to do.
He just didn't want to show Jackson Arnold beating up on Bama. That's all it
was. Okay. Don't accuse me of those allegations. We're taking that down right now. Alabama, Oklahoma fighting to keep their playoff chances alive, and they have to go fight at Bryant-Denny Stadium at 2:30 in the afternoon. Alabama, a 6-point favorite in this game. A couple things stand out to me.
Don't worry.
He hates the double digit.
Every time we're favored by 2 scores, it's a.
I agree. Alabama. Let's discuss this, right? Let's start with Alabama. Obviously, Bama fan. Look behind me. It's pretty apparent, right? But Alabama's a couple deep balls away in that game last week. I'm talking about fingertip away from having a really impressive offensive performance. Well, you missed those. Can you clean those up whenever you play this Oklahoma team? Because you're going to have the ability to take downfield shots. And if you're Ty Simpson, you got to hit. You got to hit. Oklahoma's secondary, you saw Tennessee throw for a gajillion passing yards on them. You saw Ole Miss do kind of what they wanted with Oklahoma secondary, making Oklahoma secondary tackle you in the open field on small bubble screens. That's where a lot of this Alabama offense kind of gets their run game going, and I think that should be able to favor into Alabama. Just keeping another big thing for Alabama's offense would be keeping like the communication up front. Oklahoma likes to send some stunts. They like to play straight up. They like to send linebackers. They like to walk safeties down. It's going to be key to keep the communication up front clean and also figure out who you want to play. You go back and watch the tape from last week, and Formby on some plays looked amazing. And then on a couple of those run plays, it just looked like he didn't do anything that he was supposed to ever do. I'll look for Daniel Hill to get a lot more playing time in this game. I think, I was listening to something earlier. Brooks Austin, the film guy, he's really good. If you haven't checked him out, you need to go check him out. But Daniel Hill, he was saying, if you don't give this kid Daniel Hill 15 touches a game, you're crazy. He's 244 pounds. Make the other team tackle him. I promise you he's going to fall forward for at least 3. You know what I'm saying? If he gets any type of running start, he's going to fall forward. Defensively, we got to keep progressing. Got to continue to take steps forward, especially in the sack category. You got Yonte Pierre. He's coming alive, 6 sacks in the season, and he didn't even play the first 4 games or didn't start the first 4 games. Keon Keeley, he's coming out. LT Overton, he's playing well. We're waiting to get Rusall back. Hopefully he comes back before the end of the season, before the SEC championship. I don't think Oklahoma's faced a secondary as long and as well equipped as Bama's. Tennessee, if McCoy wasn't hurt, probably them. But other than that, I think Bama's got a better secondary than what Ole Miss had. I think Mateer is going to put the ball in a lot of really, really tight windows, and it's going to be a 50-50 whether somebody can make a play on it. I think it's going to favor Bama. Create turnovers if you're Bama. Continue to do that. John Mateer, he's got to be smart with the football. If Oklahoma wants any type of chance in this game, or not any type of chance game, but wants to be able to win this game, he's got to be smart with the football. And I think probably one of the keys to the game, if we're just sitting here talking about Oklahoma being able to win this game, you watch the film, attack these tackles with speed. Attack Alabama's tackles with speed, and you're probably going to get pretty decent results. Caden Proctor has a really hard time with speed rush. Hornby has whenever you see 75 go in the game, I'm lining somebody up on him and just tell him to run around him. Just run around him. Make Todd Simpson step up in the pocket and have somebody sitting there waiting on him. Obviously, that's all fine and dandy. If you're Todd Simpson, protect the football. Just too many strip sacks. That's been a problem. You haven't been throwing a turnover. I mean, you haven't been throwing interceptions. You only got 1 on the season. I understand that. But 4 games in a row, 4 strip sacks. Got to clean that up at some point. Anyways, I got a lot more on this page. I don't want to continue reading it off because we'll be here all night. I'm going to turn it over to one of y'all. We'll start.
I want you to go. I want to finish this out.
Okay. I think it'll be one in the trenches this game. I think Alabama and Oklahoma both have a really good pass rush. But I think the offensive line for Alabama needs to step up, and the run game needs to step up tremendously. Not even just for this game. I'm talking Auburn and maybe SEC championship and even into the playoffs. If you can't get your run game going, you ain't going to win.
Yeah.
You can have the best passing game in the country, but if you can't do something else besides that, you're just going to get beat. Like there's no point about that.
Will, one of the points I have on my notebook right here is, when will this run game negatively affect Alabama?
Yeah.
And will it be this game?
If it's not this game, it's going to be the Auburn game.
Yeah.
And that's just me being honest about it. Like, you have run plays that you either run up the middle or stuff that takes too long to get under or developed on the edge.
Well,
like I was watching one time, we run a pitch play to Jam Miller out on the right side. He was swarmed by 4 people before he ever got to the line of scrimmage.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have that. And then I agree with what you said. Daniel Hill needs to touch the ball a lot more. You saw on his touchdown run, he gets hit by 2 or 3 people and he still falls forward. That boy is a man, and he needs to get the ball more. And then passing game wise, I think Ty Simpson, I think he'll zone in like he was in the first half of the season again. Can't be missing throws in November. That's where games are. That's where your season make or break. But I think he'll do better. I think we got to force John Mateer to throw into those tight windows because I like you said, the length on the defense and the secondary will help us out a lot.
The safety duo that we have, Keelan Sabb and Bray Hubbard, I mean, there's not a whole lot bad you can say about them. Bray Hubbard has been playing some downhill football. I just got a cramp. Oh, my.
While he's saying that, I'll take over. Bray Hubbard was rated the highest safety in week, what are we, 10, 11?
Week 11.
Last week was 11. Oh, my Lord. When I tell
week 10, he was rated the highest.
Dude, when I tell you I just got a cramp, I don't know. It's a thigh cramp, too. It does. Oh, man.
God,
like an underside, like after you get done playing like a football game or something, and you're like on the car ride home or something on the bus, and you just feel your whole body tense up, That's exactly what that just felt like. I haven't felt that since like.
We're gonna have to clip that and post that at somewhere.
Yeah, no doubt.
You good, Unc? You good, Unc? Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I guess I gotta start stretching.
Water, bro.
Yeah. Where's my water bottle?
Hey, get him some pickle juice, dog.
You need a foam roller?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
I got you.
No, okay. I'm gonna keep my legs straight and continue to talk, right? What were we discussing before I just had my life flash before my eyes?
Bray
Daniel
Hill. He kind of covered it.
No,
Will kind of covered Bray Hubbard and
yeah, flying downhill. Red Morgan's playing some violent ball. I think that's going to favor us a lot. We'll go back to the run game real quick. Let's hop back to that. I think I saw in the film this week, Jam Miller. I'm going to call out names just because I've noticed it more with him than anybody. I feel like Daniel Hill plays a little bit more aggressive downhill than Jam Miller does. I feel like he finds a hole and goes compared to Jam Miller. He kind of maybe waits a little too long to be able to attack a hole, to be able to cut up. So faster decision making. There is a point where you get balanced behind a guard, and there's a point where you got to decide it's time for me to cut it. It's time for me to bounce it out. I can't sit here and wait any longer because by the time Jam Miller was realizing gaps were opening up the other day, he was getting tackled. And there was a lot. If you go back and watch that game, especially if you watch it from a frontal facing view of the offensive line, you can see a lot of times where we may have had a 5 or 6 yard run or even an 8 or 9, 10 yard run that it's just messed up based off of timing, just about. Yeah. Timing, whether that be timing on the handoff, timing on Jam Miller's cuts. So it's small things, but it's a lot of small things, and that's why it's hard to clean up. And you were hoping you got that figured out on the bye week, but you obviously didn't. Alabama's defense is playing well, though. We'll see how they can contain Mateer, and especially his legs, because he likes to run the ball and he runs it well. And if you're Oklahoma, you feel like they could have been, maybe not using him as much here in the past couple of games. But in this game, it's a playoff game. It's a make or break game. I promise you Mateer is going to get 15 carries in this game. Pork. Super analyst Pork. Porkington with the cereal bowl. He's locked in. Let's see what you got, Pork.
Why do I have to have a cereal bowl?
We're talking about your light in the background.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so keys of the game here for Bama is you have to force Mateer into thinking he has open reads. You have to blanket coverage really well here. And you have to limit him on his legs and limit Satania the ball. If you even got to, you've got to keep Satania at the line at all costs. Do not let him get a release off or he will beat you by himself.
Yeah.
And with that being said, you also can't give up the explosive run, like a big explosive play from a running back or John Mateer. Okay, that's cool. But you can't let Oklahoma's pass rush get to Ty Simpson, because when he starts getting hit, and this is not a terrible secondary they're playing, the secondary can make plays on the ball, and they have shown at times they're great at playing coverage. You can't let this defensive line get into the pocket and beat up on the quarterback. because it will get in his head, and he has shown he's prone to dropping the ball and putting the ball on the ground. And this is a team that's going to go for it. They're going to try to punch the ball out every chance they can get. They did it against Auburn. Every chance they got, they were slapping the ball out of Arnold's hand. But on the Oklahoma side of it, you just got to keep hitting the quarterback. Keep hitting the quarterback. Drown out the noise because Tuscaloosa is going to be loud. This is going to be the biggest game of the season, in my opinion, in Tuscaloosa. This is where it's going to be made. The season is, in my opinion.
Well, this is a revenge game for Bama as well. Keep that in
This
mind. You
is.
got a little bit of a revenge factor after what they did
And,
to Bama last year.
And you gotta get Mateer comfortable and keep Bama's really good pass rush off of him as well. Get Satania the ball and let him make plays. And if you do anything, just shut down Jeremy Bernard, and there goes half of your offense for Bama.
Yeah, I look
Because
for
the run game's got to show up. If it doesn't show up, it's going to be a long day.
Mm-hmm. You know, a lot of the people's biggest feat on Daniel Hill is the fact that he's not a good pass blocker, right? And that Jam Miller's a better pass blocker. Kid's young, but he also catches the ball better than any back we have in our backfield. You've seen where they've gone to him in the passing game multiple times, and he's a big back. I feel like he's going to have to be one of the biggest key players for Bama in this game. Either him or Lottie Brooks. I think Lottie Brooks will get a lot of touches in this game just because he is that quick receiver that can he's kind of like Ron Williams in a sense. That can take a little bubble screen to the house. Yeah. Okay.
Minus the drops.
Minus the drop.
Okay. I was wondering where you're going with that. I was really confused.
Let's calm down a little bit.
18? It's crazy.
Yeah. 19. Okay, buddy.
I think, honestly, if you're Bama, if you can't get the running game started and you're going to sell it on the pass, you've got to have a running back leaking out every play because it's going to be extremely hard to stop.
If we become to that, I don't think you will see Jam Miller as much as you want to. I think you'll see Daniel Hill and Kevin Riley kind of switching in and out if we have to go to straight pass.
I wouldn't mind seeing a 3-back rotation. Like Riley, I feel like Riley started off the beginning of the year getting a lot of playing time, and he's kind of slowed down ever so slightly, and especially in the past 4 weeks. So I wouldn't mind seeing Riley in that backfield a little bit more, getting a couple more carries because he runs the ball hard.
Yeah, and he's quick, twitchy. Ever since Missouri, I haven't really seen him touch the ball, honestly.
Yeah.
He's the shorter guy, right? That's really quick. He's full speed when he touches the ball, basically.
And, if you watch a Bama game, they come out in 5 wide a lot and motion the back end to see, kind of figure out what the other team's in. I would feel like Riley, obviously we haven't seen him catch a whole lot of passes this year, but he kind of almost is like a receiver. I don't know what his hands look like, but you could almost keep that 5 wide and move him over and be okay. Let's see. We got Fletcher with the first comment ever on the podcast. Let's see what Fletcher got it. I think the tight end position is key to Bama running game. Last year we had Robbie Oots that loved to take on linebacker. Bama doesn't have that physical type of a tight end this year. That overall is correct. I think Cuevas is a really good pass catcher, but the blocking, especially you go back to last game, you look and see what we have. There's a lot of plays where you see Formby and Cuevas on the same side. And you're supposed to get a little bit of a assist there to Formby, and Cuevas will completely miss the block, and then he'll lose his assignment. So I completely agree with you. Oots was kind of the life and soul of the run game last year. Whenever he came in, you knew what Bama was going to. What Danny Lewis is supposed to be that guy as well, but he's been injured, and I don't know what his status is currently. I know me and Fletcher at the game the other night talked about how big of an asset he would be to this team if he could come back. But Jim, what do you think about that, and how are you feeling on that?
I agree with what he said. Since we lost Oots and even the tight end that got drafted, I can't remember his name.
Dupree.
Yeah, he wasn't bad in the run blocking game. But I feel like if we get Danny Lewis back, which that is his best thing to do is block, I feel like it could open some on the edge. Not real sure. But one guy, I might get hate. You might want to say, well, save his red shirt. But this guy's kind of like our dual threat running back. He can catch and he can run. AK Deer. I'd like to see him touch the ball. Just maybe this game. Maybe. Really, really good guy out there, but I got sidetracked. My bad. I was looking at Twitter.
No, you're good. A lot of potential with the AK Deer, though, for sure.
Yeah.
Don't know if you'll see him,
but I think even like you said last game when Cuevas missed his block, like the assist block, and he just missed his whole assignment. Like you can't do that. Like everybody messes up in a game. You still have your full assignment there, even if you hit or miss the guy. I think that's just more mental stuff because you're thinking more, well, dang, I missed him. Now what? Do I try and hit him again or what? But yeah, I think Danny Lewis coming back could help.
I thought it was interesting. The film guys showed a clip as well of Jaden Roberts literally missing his blocking assignment and then turning around looking at Jam Miller like, what is he doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, literally, he is running the block and just turns around, looks back at the play. And I mean, I know Pork wasn't an offensive lineman, Chin, you weren't an offensive lineman, but that is like the worst thing you could possibly do. If you're an offensive lineman, you make a block and you continue to go. You continue to go up to the next level. You find somebody else to hit. Anyways, he turned around for sure.
I mean, it kind of looks like they're on the sled at practice. They hit and let go.
Yeah.
Nobody drives for real.
And it's about effort plays is a lot of it, but also the running backs being cool. Like, it's not just a problem with the line. That's the most interesting thing about the run game. If you go back and watch, some of it is a running back mistake. Some of it is a running back not hitting the hole correctly or not hitting it hard enough. And sometimes whenever there is a lot of trash, if you just hit the hole hard enough, it'll open up and you'll fall forward for 4 or 5 instead of just staying flat-footed and getting tackled behind the line of scrimmage with a loss of 2, you know? But the tight end position, that is a good point by Fletcher. The tight end position is a key to the running game for Bama and is a key to the overall game success against Oklahoma, I feel like, because you're going to have a lot of chip blocks to be able to keep Oklahoma. Ardarius Mason, the end for Oklahoma, I don't know what his status is for this game. He got hurt on the scoop and score last week that he had. I don't know what his stat, but if he is not, that is a huge piece for Oklahoma. If he is not in this game, it's going to be a huge loss for them. But especially on his side of the line, a lot of chip blocks going his way to be able to keep him from being able to get off the ball so quickly.
I mean, does he wear number 32?
Yeah.
Okay. So you could even tell. I'm gonna go back to the Auburn game because that was really the last time I really saw something about him. He missed the first half of the game, and all the announcers were talking about wait till this guy comes in the second half because I never watched Oklahoma prior to that. And when he gets into the game, it's like their defense switched and it just got more intense. They were playing more like together, more fully. I think if he is out of the game or not 100%, that might be a factor for their D line. Not saying it'd be a big factor, but it could pose some factors to the experience and talking on the defense.
I don't know what name I'm giving you. It's R. Mason Thomas. I don't know why. I'm sorry about that. It's R. Mason Thomas is who I'm talking about. He's 32. That's on me. But yeah, no, for sure. He's a difference maker for this defense for Oklahoma. And he's going to be a huge portion of getting pressure on Ty Simpson and creating havoc for Alabama and making it a little bit harder. Hope to see Alabama change some things around. Hope to see Daniel Hilliard get some more touches. We'll see this Saturday at 2:30. Pork, is there anything you want to throw in there?
They've got a great defensive front. I'm a lot of PTSD as an Auburn fan this year from that defensive front. But I feel like their numbers kind of got a little bit inflated off of the way Jackson Arnold was trying to run this offense that Auburn was struggling with at the time, given who the play caller was and who the quarterback was at the time. I just think their pass rush is great. I think their run defense is great. But I think just outside the numbers or just on the numbers is where everything's going to be decided at. The wide receiver play on corners is where you're really going to see the difference maker on both sides of the ball for Bama and Oklahoma.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. Chin, I want to ask you this. You know, Port said wide receiver and cornerback play is probably going to be the biggest difference in the game. What would be your position group that would be a deciding factor in the game for you?
O-line, D-line.
O-line for who?
Bama.
Yeah.
Well, technically both teams, honestly.
Yeah.
But like I said earlier when I was giving my thoughts about it, I think this game will be won in the trenches. I don't think it'll still be won in the secondary and wide receivers, but I think the main part of it, stopping the rush, getting enough push to get the run game started for both teams will be a big part.
I think if you tell me how well Alabama's offensive line is communicating in the middle of this game, in that middle 8, like I was talking about earlier, I can kind of tell you where the it's going to lead to, where the prediction of the game is going to lead to, and I can kind of forecast the game from there. I think Brent Venables is going to come out and some stuff that Alabama has not seen before, and Todd Simpson even commented on that today, saying that last year, whenever they went to Oklahoma, that Oklahoma went out there and slapped them with a completely new game plan. I mean, just stuff that they had not seen, and that's what Venables is good at. I look to see that happen in this game as well. I think the crowd noise of Bryant-Denny is insane right now. I think the past 2 years it's gotten louder and louder. Me and Fletcher were talking about that this past Saturday when we were there at the game. That it just feels louder. It feels like there's more energy here. I don't know what it is about it.
The Vandy game that we went to?
Yeah, it was rocking. It was rocking. Even the Tennessee game. So I think the stadium atmosphere is going to be a big point in this. But I think Alabama, there's a reason that they're like 6th in the nation in turnovers at the current moment, or in turnover margin, or I think it's even higher than that. I think forcing turnovers with Mateer is going to be a winning recipe for Alabama in this game. That's why I got Alabama at 24-21. Still a tighter game, but I think I almost wanted to go a little bit more, like maybe 28-21, something like that. But I just think Alabama's offense has been kind of struggling these past couple of weeks, and I don't think you're going to be able to establish the run in this game. So I think you're going to have to rely on Ty Simpson a lot to make plays, in which I think he is clutch, and I think that is why we end up winning the game down the line. But I don't think it's comfortable by any means. But I got Alabama 24-21. Chin, what you got for me?
17-10 Bama. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. Both defenses are going to play.
What'd you say? I didn't hear you.
17-10 Bama.
17-10 Bama.
But I think it'll be a low-scoring game. Both defense Alabama's allowing 17, Oklahoma's allowing 14 a game. I just think it'll be a low-scoring game. Both defenses are going to come to play because that's probably the strength of both teams right now is the defense. But I think, like you said, Ty Simpson being clutch or having that clutch gene in him will probably help us to win the game.
You feel like he's kind of found a way to get out of 3rd and longs all season. Like whenever there is a 3rd and 12 and you're like, man, there's no way they're going to convert this, he figures out a way to step up in the pocket and make a crazy throw. And I think you're going to have to see a lot of that against Oklahoma this week with that defensive line getting pressure. I think you're going to see Ty Simpson step up in the pocket a lot and try to rip one. He ripped one he ripped a crosser into a tight window last week. I don't know if y'all saw that, seen a clip of that, but that throw was ridiculous. Pork, on to you. What's your score prediction?
So I think this game is going to be extremely close. Like I'm talking about like down to the final few minutes of the game. It's going to be right there to the wire. Bryant-Denny is going to be a big factor, obviously. But I hate to agree with y'all, but give me Oklahoma, 22-21. I see a 2-point conversion coming in late in the game to put them up 1.
You said, I hate to agree with y'all, but give me Oklahoma.
How you feel about that?
I can see it. There's a large window for Oklahoma to win this game. I think it's a lot larger than what people think. You think about this. This game's played on a neutral ground. Bama's maybe a 3-point favorite, 2-point favorite.
If that.
And if it's played at Oklahoma, it's probably a pick 'em. So I don't know. I mean, I could definitely see Oklahoma winning this game. And if Oklahoma does win this game, it's not the end of the world for Alabama as far as playoffs wise. You just can't struggle. You can't drop a game to Auburn. And
If you lose Saturday, and then you lose after Thanksgiving, the playoffs are over. You can kiss them goodbye, and you will not play an SEC championship.
And how excited would Auburn be to know that they have the opportunity to keep Alabama from going to the playoffs?
I'm going to tell you now. I think if Auburn comes out and booms, like I'm talking about, knocks Bama down, there is still a chance Bama could get bumped out. If Auburn really comes in and wins by about 3 scores, which is, let's be real,
Yeah,
probably not going to happen.
Hypothetical.
But if it does, in the hypothetical sense, I could see the committee being like, well, maybe Bama isn't the Bama we thought they were.
Yeah. Who knows? That's a couple weeks ahead. We'll see how this Oklahoma game goes. 2:30 at Bryant-Denny. Look forward to this one. Is there anything y'all want to leave in with here?
Bama's up 14-0 at half, and then they just kind of give it away.
All right, RJ. Taking it from RJ's book today.
What do you mean? No, I'm just saying like they go up 21-7, and then Oklahoma calls back.
Now, I'll tell you what. I got the script, right? I got the script. They sent it in. They sent it to me earlier, right?
Here we go.
I got Bama 24-21, right? I think it's going to be a scoreless first. Bama scores twice in the second, one off of a interception, right? 14-7. Hear me out. Right? Third quarter, you get a singular touchdown from Alabama. Okay? Beginning of the fourth, you get a field goal. 24, and Oklahoma scores in the third. Forgot to mention that. 24-14, right? Oklahoma goes on a drive at the end of the game, about 5 minutes left to go, scores, makes it 21-24, makes it interesting, kicks the ball to Bama, and Todd Simpson bleeds the clock out. Alabama drives it down the field, runs the time down, ends up getting the field goal range, but doesn't have to call a timeout, ends up finding a way to move the ball, 24-21. Bama bleeds the clock from 4 minutes all the way down.
So Bama makes a field goal to win the game.
I'm telling you right now.
No. Bama kicks the field goal at the start of the fourth.
Oh,
Bama
okay.
So they don't.
I'm telling you right now, Pork. If it comes down to our kicker, we ain't winning. If it's not dead on, he ain't gonna make it. And I hate to talk bad about him. But God,
I mean, as a Bama fan, that's what you want to see.
I miss
you want Bama to have a bad kicker.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, every time Bama's had a bad kicker, I mean, look at the Saban days. They had one good kicker as Saban being the head coach. Won 7 national championships under him?
Hey, we had a good kicker last year.
Did y'all win the national championship?
No. Did we win with Will Riker? Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Who was the coach then?
No. The GOAT.
Yeah.
The GOAT.
Yeah.
Right there on my wall.
Hugh Aloysius Freeze was the coach back then.
Hugh Freeze. Oh,
talking to the Boar, the Bear.
Go ahead, Port.
So, I wanted to talk about the bye week, Auburn's bye week that they're going to have going in here. And there is a big decision that Durkin has to make before they play Mercer. So if you play Ashton Daniels against Mercer or Bama, he loses his red shirt. He's gone. But that means you would have to start Deuce Knight against Mercer, and if he plays good against Mercer, start him against Bama. Which as much as I would hate for him to start against Bama and be his first SEC starters at home in the Iron Bowl, if he comes out and balls out against Mercer, I'm fine with it. Because we'll still have Ashton Daniels for the start of next season.
Yeah.
But the real question is, do you want to win now and try to beat Bama now, or do you want to give Ashton Daniels the rock next year and let him try to win it next season, given the assets they already have?
I say this. I don't think Dirk is playing for next season. I think he's playing for right now. I think he's trying to.
Question today.
Huh?
Dirk got asked that question today, what he was going to do with Ashton Daniels, and he said, well, first we're taking into accountability what will be the best for Ashton, and then secondly, what will be the best for Auburn. So if he's thinking about the player's perspective of it, he's probably going to invoke his red shirt.
Yeah. But if he wanted to be selfish and just say that to the media, which I don't think he is, he's gonna play for himself to get the head coach job. And Ashton Daniels right now gives him the best opportunity to win.
Hey, speaking of head coaching and stuff like that, supposedly Auburn's AD, what is it, Cohen? He had his first. He started interviewing today, huh? That's what we're seeing a lot on 3 posted it earlier today that he stated that he started interviewing for the job. I think a lot of teams, there will be a lot of hires that in the next, maybe not a lot of hires, but your first hire will probably come in the next 7 to 10 days. That's stated by Pete Thamel. Whether it's Eric Morrison at North Texas, Bob Chesney at James Madison, Alex Golish at USF, or Tulane's John Summerall, it'll probably be, or even Ryan Silverfield at Memphis. He said that some of these programs, especially like the Oklahoma States of the world, Arkansas, Virginia Tech, UCLA, in the next 7 to 10 days, will probably start getting people in office and figuring out who they're going to go with the next guy. So look forward to being able to break that out.
I really like Summerall, man. I really do. But at the same time, given the scenario we're in, we have DJ Durkin. You know, probably in my opinion, he's probably one of the greatest defensive coordinators in the SEC currently, if not the best SEC defensive coordinator. He brings a life to the Auburn team that they needed. Honestly, he turned this team around in a week. He went from scoring 3 points against Kentucky at home to scoring 38 at Vanderbilt.
Yeah. The only kick side of that is you had the fall off in production from your defense, and that's what scares you. You know what I'm saying?
The only thing I can really say about the fall off in production on defense is you got to look at the team they were playing, and that team is extremely hard to game plan for, because you can't just game plan for Pavia. You've got a game plan for the 10 other guys around him. It's just because you never really know. They scored a touchdown off a jump pass. Pavia ran a jump pass on the 2-yard line.
Well, I mean, they're hard to keep from scoring the football. Don't get me wrong, but like Missouri's defense held Vanderbilt at what, 17 at home. Bama's defense held them to 14. And then obviously against Texas, they made that push later in the game, but they still held them off. So that's what's concerning me is teams have done it, and Auburn's defense is supposed to be one of these top tier defenses. You know what I'm saying? Or one of the better in the SEC. Like the contention or the opinion on Auburn was the fact that their defense is a really good unit, but they just break down at the end of games because the offense can't move the ball. Well, in this game, the offense started to move the ball and it started to actually score points, but the defense fell apart. So that's what kind of got me. And obviously, I agree with you. I think there's some really good play calling. I think Vanderbilt does some great things, but how much of it was self-inflicted pain from Auburn? Obviously, I haven't broke down the film on Auburn, but
I've been saying since week 1, our secondary is not this unpierceable secondary that everybody makes it out to be. We are young. We have a good safety and a good corner.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Kayan Lee and Eric Winters is a true freshman, and he has truly been balling out this season. I'm been very impressed with his play. Kayan Lee, unfortunately had the targeting call against Georgia right there before halftime. That probably, to be honest with you, probably cost us that game.
Yeah,
that gave them a first down on third and or just no man's land. It was like 3rd and 10 or something like that, and they threw an incompletion.
I will.
But it's going to be a weird off week. We're going to really learn a lot about the future and what we plan on doing as a team.
I tell you what, as a Bama fan, I do not look forward to 3 weeks from now because Auburn's got about 3 weeks to prepare. DJ Durkin's got he'll have 4 weeks under his belt as a head coach then. It could be a little bit different going into Jordan here for Bama. If you're Bama, you got 3 weeks to prepare. If you're Auburn, Bama's got to play Oklahoma this week in Eastern Illinois, which obviously Eastern Illinois, whatever. But Oklahoma this week, usually
what you got to worry about Bama is them being tired, man. They've got this Oklahoma game that's going to put some wear on them. Then they immediately play Eastern Illinois, and then they have to go to Auburn. Yeah. They're about to play back-to-back weeks.
Eastern Illinois, hopefully they're able to sit out some people. Obviously, you expect them to be able to sit out some people in that game and
Mhm.
get them rested up after about half or first quarter. But
Oh yeah.
overall,
I would like to switch from football to basketball.
oh,
Big game tomorrow night, or no,
Purdue, yeah,
Thursday
that's Thursday
night.
night. Yeah,
Bama Purdue at Bama.
what about Bama's backcourt, dude? Phylon,
Mhm.
Holloway, they looked amazing against St. John's. Auburn starting to come around a little bit. Struggled with that zone defense off the start of their game the other night, but kind of came around. They play. Actually, I think they're playing now. They're playing
playing
Wofford
right now.
currently. Yeah.
Yeah,
they're
they
playing
are
right
actually.
now. They're winning 40-22 at half.
Yeah. So Auburn, it's just a matter of time. Obviously, it's Wofford. Last year they were in the Sweet 16? No, they're in the 32. I don't know. It's 1-2.
32.
They made a decent little run last year. Not a terrible team. Obviously, they lost some players. I was looking at it earlier today. They lost some players coming back this year. So they're in a little bit of a rebuild, but still. Anyways,
I
Stephen
think
Pearl's
what helped Alabama a lot is the depth with Wrightsville coming back. I think he had 17 Saturday. And then you have good play from freshmen. Amari Allen's been playing really good. Cheryl's been getting better. I think it'll be a good game.
an
I'm
impact
definitely gonna be
transfer.
watching it. Yeah.
An impact transfer in Taylor Bowen.
Oh yeah, Bull
He
Bowen's
had-
been playing good.
Yeah, 17-9-1. He had a heck of a game.
I'm still waiting on Jalil Bethea to come back. Shout out Port Bethea.
I'm going to be honest with you. It feels weird talking about Alabama basketball and there's not any old man Sears being brought up. It's like he's been on that team since 2012, something like that. What, he get 10 JUCO years?
Hey, he
What's
was
going
like
on
the
here,
same.
man?
He was the same age as Janai Broom. Janai Broom.
Janai
been there
Broom,
since
he
the
was
80s.
way better. Player of the year. You know what's going on here.
Janai Broom been there since the 80s.
Player of the year. He got the 80s play style. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
Hey, Troy won by 65, by the way.
Huh?
121-56.
I'm going to tell y'all. I've got a Troy shirt on currently right now.
Oh,
That
dude, they
team
played
is-
at Troy. Pork, we should have gone.
We could have won. We could have had a
Could have
live
done the
one.
podcast in there.
Could have done the pod live. But seriously though, that Troy team, basketball wise, is a team to watch out for. They will upset. They are a bracket buster. They really will be this coming year. I feel it.
They played deep too, really deep.
Alabama basketball takes on Purdue Thursday night, though. I was just actually reading through a Purdue message board earlier just because I was bored and wanted to get rage baited, right? And they somebody put a comment in there that said the key to the game is letting Alabama's guards shoot and not letting them get to the basket.
Has he ever watched an Alabama game?
I don't think he has.
I'm sitting here thinking let Aiden Holloway and Phylon shoot. Let Wrightsville shoot. Let Houston Millette shoot.
That's like Alabama's whole game plan is get the guards the ball and let them shoot.
And they were saying it because of St. John's. In the St. John's game, Alabama did really well by attacking the basket. But it's like they hit their open three. So why give them that?
I mean, you got the coach at St. John's, heck of a coach, like really good coach. But Alabama still put up 103, 105, something like that. I mean, they're averaging 97 a game, only giving up 79 a game, and they're shooting 50% from the field.
Yeah.
Good God.
Alabama team's going to be a good team to look for. Auburn's going to progress as the season goes on. Stephen Pearl is a good coach. He just needs time, getting some reps up. Obviously, look forward to this basketball season. We'll start covering a little bit more on basketball as the season progresses, especially as we get into SEC play. But anything else you want to leave out on?
Since we're talking about good coaches, right? Did y'all see where Stephen Pearl was talking about? Yeah, no one cares if we're close. We're trying to win it now.
Yeah, I saw that. That was funny.
And then you got Lane Kiffin. Was it this morning? He posted the freeze warning or
No, that
something
was
like
yesterday
that?
morning.
Dude, I'm
He
telling
posted
you,
one again this morning.
he's gonna have to quit messing with me, man. He's getting my hopes up.
Yeah, he also posted something about
coach.
Derek Nix the day before.
So the whole Derek Nix thing is that Derek Nix was his OC.
I know.
So
I'm just creating a false
but also
narrative.
at the same time, you could see that as like a hey, Let's have a little reunion here. Be real.
He'd leave for Ole Miss. Mm. Nah, but I saw a betting thing today on the next LSU head coach. Guess who was the front runner?
Who?
Nick Saban
Drinkwitz.
plus 200.
That's ridiculous. It's got to be a meme,
Right.
right?
And Nick Saban's got a 40-inch vertical leap too.
Yeah.
Hey,
Last
don't
week
hate
they
on-
had him
don't hate on
at
Saban.
75.
I'm not. I'm just saying he just doesn't have a 40-inch vertical leap.
He might. Hey,
Hey,
watch
man.
him in practice. He talking about that spring in his hip. He might have one.
That is true. Hey, we'll finish out on this, right? Did y'all see the news on Brian Kelly filing the lawsuit today on LSU?
LSU. I did.
Oh,
I didn't
God.
read the full. Pete Thamels, I think, has a copy of the lawsuit
Yeah, he does.
What's it about? Like, what's he suing him for?
to get all his money. They're trying to. I think they tried to go 25 million and then
No, they talked
30.
him down to 26 million instead of 50
They
something.
offered him 25
No,
million.
they offered him.
And then he said no, and then they offered him 30, and then he's like, "All right, well, I'm gonna sue y'all for all 50, whatever."
That right there could be a hang up for a new coach wanting to go there.
So
Is
let me
they're
tell
not
you,
willing to want money.
I'll read this article by Nick Schultz. He's talking about Paul Feinbaum. Obviously, had a lot to say about it today. Basically, complained about the disgraceful events of how they fired him. Didn't like how they handled the situation. We wanted to try to prop everybody up. We were in Baton Rouge a number of weeks ago talking to everybody who mattered down there. I've never seen a school do more damage to itself in a span of 2 weeks. You have every right to fire your coach, but the sleaziness that has permitted the air in Louisiana since the Brian Kelly firing is pretty disgraceful. And I'm guessing he's referring to the talks out of Louisiana, but he continues on to say, in the suit filed late Monday, LSU is arguing it did not formally terminate Kelly as head coach. His complaint said the 48-page complaint also outlines that LSU is working to fire Kelly for calls to avoid paying his $54 million buyout. I don't know if you've ever had a contract, but it's a two-way deal. Feinbaum said you can't hate Brian Kelly. You can hate Brian Kelly, but you still have to agree he is entitled to whatever his contract stipulates, whether the governor, whether the other characters in this cartoon agree or not.
48 pages. I ain't reading a single one.
To be honest with you, I think it's a little childish for the governor to be like, "Oh,
The governor's basically in charge.
So, he's basically trying to control the university's hiring of the new AD and stuff like that. All kinds.
That's what he said, but I don't understand.
I just don't understand it. You got to let the school do their job. That's what they're there for.
My understanding on the whole situation is the fact that they tried to slap him with a $25 million. They were going to give it to him in 2 installments, like just pay it all up front basically to him and get him out of there instead of paying him over years. So they were basically just going to say, "Hey, here, take the money. Now get out of my life. Let me give it to you all up front." And then the $25 million didn't work, so they said, "Okay, here's $5 more million." And obviously, Brian Kelly ain't going for that. I don't think Brian Kelly's a tremendous guy by any means. Hearing what the whole media is portrayed, but you got to think about the name and the reputation that he is that has taken a beating with this LSU job. I would probably be trying to get all my money too. You know what I'm saying? I just put my legacy, my reputation, my family. Everything. And I was guaranteed 54. Pay me 54.
And he can't even live in the state of Louisiana anymore without getting shunned.
No doubt.
That's the way you got to look at it.
So I don't blame him. I don't at all for trying to go after.
If somebody promised me $54 million and you're going to pay me my $54 million, I'm sorry about it. Hate me if you want to. I'm getting my $54 million.
I just want to say, this is what veteran attorney Tom Mars, who represented multiple high-profile college football coaches in employment disputes, had to say about it. He said, "No school has ever won a termination for cause lawsuit, even when they could allege grounds that with a straight face." LSU, bad situation. But they got the money. They'll figure it out. just hate that it has to come to this. It's just bad publicity. And too much publicity is a bad thing from time to time. I know they say any publicity is a good or bad is a good thing, but in this case, probably not. If you're Lane Kiffin, are you looking at this differently? Who knows, right?
If I'm a coach that's going into an open year and everybody's going to be trying to hire me, and one of the top schools is LSU, and now they're going with this problem with the coach they just fired that they don't want to pay, that would be a big red flag for me. Not because I just want him to come to Auburn, but just mainly for the fact of, like, even just for myself, I would just be like, man, I couldn't go do that. I'd rather take my chances with Florida if I was going to do it that way.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing about college football is everything works itself out, and it may not work it out how we expect it to. But it's always interesting to really watch it. And here on the R&D podcast, we'll be breaking it down for you whenever it does happen. I think this is kind of concluding the end of our show. My name's Dalton. I got Chin Import, or I got Will R Import now.
I'll change it. My fault.
And we'll it's really throwing me off, Chin. You know, I mean, really messing me up. You know what I'm saying? But we'll catch you next time. I appreciate you stopping by. Catch us on Sunday to be able to break down the games that happen this weekend. And